Hi, this is Sarah from sarahreneclark.com, and today I'm going to show you how to draw a rose like these ones in the pictures here. So for this tutorial, you can use any marker for the black outlines, but I have used a micron that you can see here. I've used a number 4, which you can see on the end of the tip. Now for this rose here, I've coloured this with copic chow markers. Now I've just used 2 colours in both of these examples, being the red and the pink. And in this example, I've also used a copic blender to help with some of the colours. And for our pencil version over here, I've used just a pink and red Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils. And in both cases, I have used a Uniball Signo white pen to do the details around the outside. So we're actually going to start from scratch today, and I'm going to show you how to draw both of these roses and how to colour them. So if you have markers, you can follow along with the marker version, or you can follow along with the pencil version. Now, one of the pages that I've previously done with these, as you can see here, is this ribbon. This is actually a free colouring page that you can download from my website, sarahreneclark.com. And you can use this to test out your colours if you like, or if you're feeling adventurous, today we're going to draw a rose from scratch so you can draw it and then colour it yourself. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to draw under these ones here, is we're going to start with just a little circle. And we're just going to create some petals. So we're starting from the centre and we're going to work our way outwards. So we're just going to create like 2 or 3 petals around the centre there. So very simple, doesn't have to be perfect. We'll see how we go. We're just going to now work outwards, and we're going to keep working in groups of 3 to make things easy. So we're going to do 3 petals outside of our first set of petals. And you can even overlap them a little bit like I've done there. And then we're just going to keep building on that. So then we do another 3 outside that. So we've got 1, 2 and 3. Now as you get further out, and you'll see in these examples here, it's actually good to have some uneven and imperfect edges. So don't worry about how well you're actually drawing it. Sometimes the wobblier lines actually add to the effect of the rose. So that's something to keep in mind. You can intentionally put a few wobbles in there. But it also means that it's pretty hard to stuff it up. So even if you're a beginner, I think you can do this. So there we go. So we're going to add some more. And we're starting to see our rose come to life. So it's just a case of adding a few more layers until you're happy that your rose is the size that you'd like. Okay, so we might just do one more layer. Running out of room here. Okay. Now I'm going to draw a second one here just so that I can show you the comparison between the pencils and the markers when it comes to colouring them in. This one's not quite as nice as my first one, but like I said, it doesn't matter too much. It'll still look like a rose once we add our colours. Alright, we might leave that there. Okay, so we've done our outlines. So we're going to start with our marker one first. Now I am using copic markers, which are made for blending. I haven't actually got a huge set of these, so usually you would pick colours a bit closer together if you're intending on blending. In this case, I've picked 2 colours that should blend a little bit, but not too much. But because we're going to do a bit of texture in this, it doesn't matter so much anyway about the blending. So you can, if you have a bigger range, use some other colours in between to really make it a really gorgeous blend. Or if you've got cheap markers that don't blend at all, we can still make it work. So what I'm going to do is start with the darkest colour, which is our red. And we're just going to fill in we're going to do each petal once, one at a time, and we're going to fill the inside of the petal with the dark red, as you can see here, and the outside of the petal we're going to leave with the light pink. So we'll start by just adding the red on the inside. And I'm just going to do a few petals simply because we're wanting to blend, we don't want to let the ink dry out too long before applying the second colour. So we'll just do a few at once, like that. And then get your lighter colour, so in this case the pink, and just from going over the previous colour, start to blend it out a little bit. Now these colours are not the best for blending together, but like I said, because of our effect we're going to add a bit later, it doesn't matter too much. If you do have better colours to blend, then I'd recommend adding that third colour in the middle to really get a good blend here. Okay, and what I'm also going to do in this case, and this is optional, is I've got a colourless blender here. So I'm just going to use this to blend the pink out to the white, to a whiter edge, just on the tip of each petal. Okay, so we're just going to repeat that for the rest of the petals now too. You will find that your paper choice, if you are using an alcohol marker like a Copic marker, that your paper choice actually has a big impact. So I'm just using normal paper here, so it means that the blending isn't as effective as if I actually had some proper blending paper, but it's really up to you. Okay, not much more now. Now if you're wanting a different effect as well, you actually can try reversing this. So some roses, rather than having the darker colour on the inside, you would have the darker colour along the edges of the petals. So you can try experimenting with different things. I guess the main point is to work from the inside out in everything that you do. So always, you know, if you're going to have a darker colour along the outside edge, work on each petal individually and think about what the actual outside of that petal is. It's fairly straightforward in a picture like this where it's all coming from the center when we're looking down on the rose, but just to show you as an example, this one that I've got here that I showed you earlier, some of these roses are on an angle, so it's a little bit harder to identify where the center is. So in some cases it's not necessarily the outside edge, it's whatever the center of the rose is, if that makes sense. So yeah, if you think about which part of the petal is connected to the center of the rose and work out from there. Okay, I'm just going to add a few little bits now. And we're done that step now. So our markers, you can see there's a bit of bleeding happening, and that's all right. The blending isn't great. If you had better colors or better paper, you'd get a better blending result. But that's why we're going to do our next step, which is what we're going to do is create these little lines so that it actually looks like a bit of the texture of the rose. So we're going to get our red out again and just start from the red, the darkest part, and flick out towards the pink. Okay, so just like that. And try to do as small as you can, so really light pressure, and just flick the pen to try and get it to taper at the end. Okay. Now the final step for this rose is we want to add our white highlights around the edge. So to do this, we're going to use a white gel pen. Mine's a uni ball. And you may want to pick up an extra scrap piece of paper for this. And before you start, and even if you need to during, just rub the uni ball or the gel pen to get it working. And then once you've got a bit of a flow, you can start just outlining each of the petals. So I try not to write directly on the black, because you still, in this example here, you can see you still want to see the black outline. But if you can just go just inside the black outline, that's where we want to do our outline. Now, one tip with these gel pens is if you want to keep the flow going, rather than doing it in one big long streak, do it in little sections and keep your touch really light, because I found that the lighter I touch it to the paper, the more ink flows and the less the pen gets clogged up. Now, if your pen does get clogged up, of course, bring back your scrap piece of paper and just get it rolling again. And that way you don't have any streaky spots against your artwork that's going to ruin the effect. Now, one thing you can see I've done here in this top one is actually left some sections just as dots. So you can do that as well if you want it to have a bit of a more interesting look. So I like to do it sort of at the end of the petals, or sometimes in the middle like that one. Sorry about that, my recording actually cut off the end of the last one for you, but you can see what I've done here. I've just finished off the white edges here. I've also very sneakily used my white pen just to clean up some little mistakes on the outside, which obviously if you've got a coloured background you'll be able to hide that quite easily. Anyway, so now we're going to move on to our pencil rose, and I'm just going to use the same two colours, so we're going with the pink and the red to keep things nice and simple. And we're going to use the same technique, so we're going to start from the inside with our red and we're going to blend outwards. The great thing about pencils is these are much easier to blend because you can just press a little bit lighter as you move outwards and it creates that blending effect. And once we bring the pink in, you'll see it works really well. Sorry about the noise of my 2-year-old counting in the background there. He's really loves his numbers, so obviously doesn't understand at 2 that he needs to be quiet for Mum's videos, so a little bit of extra entertainment for you there. Okay, so that's the reds done. And now we're going to use the pink, and to do the pink, rather than trying to colour from this side in, we're actually going to colour over the red and colour out and sort of do the exact same thing that we've done with the red, but on top of the red, and we're going to stretch the pink slightly closer to the edge at the start. So colour in, very nice and heavy, and then we sort of fade out as we get to the edge. Okay, so we've done our red and our pink. Now we're going to get our Signo pen again, just our white gel pen, and we're just going to do the same that we've done on the other rows using the outlines here. In fact, before we do this, we might just do a test. So in this example, I haven't done the texture, as you can see that I've done here, but just for the sake of things, I am going to do it on this one because I'd like to see if there's a bit of a difference. So putting a little bit of extra pressure because I've already coloured quite dark. Okay, so it's starting to work. Okay, so that's just added a bit of something different. You can see the difference that it makes there. And now we're going to go with our white pen and do our outlines. Now you will find that the white pen is a little bit harder to use on the pencils. I find that the pencils do seem to, so you can see what's already happening here, where it starts to not run as well. So again, if you just keep pressing lightly, you will get it to work. And if you just work in small sections at once, it won't be so noticeable. But if you do have issues, get out your scrap piece of paper again, just to get the ball on the end of the pen rolling again. And there we go. So there you have our marker rows on the side here using the Copic markers, and our pencil rows on the right here. And I hope that you've learned something from this tutorial. I hope that it was helpful to you. If you're interested in more videos, please subscribe to my channel. I've got more videos coming and I'll be making a lot more tutorials, so if you have any requests, please leave them in the comments. Otherwise, if you have any other comments or questions, please leave them in the comments as well, and I'll try to answer your questions for you. So I hope you've enjoyed today. Thank you for watching for all this time, and have a great week. Thank you.